I'm Jared Pratt, CEO of Granite Peak Associates.
I'm Heather Piazza, Tax Manager at Granite Peak. Today we're going to chat about a couple of things to consider if you're looking at a potential sale of your practice in the next few years. Jared, what are top 3 items that you would start doing as an owner DVM looking for sale in the short-term horizon?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the number. My house is in order, right? And what do I mean by that? Sure, you've been maintaining some type of books and records, your financial statements, but are they truly representative of where they need to be? So are we maintaining the AHA chart of accounts, that level of detail? Are we reconciling monthly? Is payroll being accurately reflected, by breaking out by associate doc, the text, the admin, the support? That level of detail is going to be extremely important when, we come in to try to find adjustments or add backs, when a buyer comes in to scrutinize, because think of your audience. They're looking for all the negatives. We're looking to highlight all the positives and kind of meeting in the middle. So getting your house in order starts with your financial statements. It goes all the way to record retention. Do you have contracts for all your associate DVMs? Some practice owners are against those. Some are for it. I know it's a conversation that comes up in every due diligence is what's in place with the team that you have, the vendors that you have. So think to your your lab contracts, your diagnostics, so the Antex, the IDEX of the worlds. How deep are you within those contracts? Because a lot of times in a sales situation, if you have 3 years left on that contract, there's a pretty hefty breakage fee. Now sometimes the buyer is going to be willing to work with you on that, and sometimes they're not. And you're going to have to eat that as part of your consideration. So number one, by and far, is getting your house in order financially, record retention wise, just anything related to records of the practice.
How many years should I look at for that?
Yeah, so they're not just analyzing the past 6 months. We're going back as much as 3 to 5 years, especially with everything that happened in COVID within the industry. You had the COVID bubble, which a lot of practices saw a substantial amount of growth. You have buyers nowadays that are scrutinizing 18, 19, and 20 because 2020, 2021 and 2022 were such great years. So 3 to 5 years is really going to be that period of time that a buyer is focusing on, analyzing, and doing the financial due diligence with.
Should I stop doing big supply orders or giving out big bonuses at year end?
It really depends how close we are. So I always like to say, operate in the normal course of business. So if it's always been your style to do a massive year-end bonus, then let's keep consistent, because you don't want to shake up the waters within your team and say, hey, I'm used to receiving X amount of dollars every year as an employee, and all of a sudden this year I didn't get that. So operate in the normal course of business. The important thing there is don't go out and buy a massive piece of equipment if you think your window of time for sale is 6 to 12 months. You're not going to have that return of investment on the asset that you purchase. But yeah, still go and buy your drugs and supplies, buy your office supplies. You don't have to, stock up. You can run a little bit lean, but certainly from an employee standpoint, it's business as usual. Keep running the clinic as you always have.
And should I try a corporate buyer, or should I look internally, or should I look for a private buyer outside the company?
I mean, that's a conversation that could go, hours here, and it's really clinic by clinic, and it's owner by owner. It's, where are they within their practice? Do they have they trained that associate and they're kind of the next in line? What is their exit? I mean, if you think of practice that's a single doctor, a corporate buyer really isn't going to be on the table. Now, if you go the flip side and you have a 5-doctor clinic, your buyer is very likely going to be a corporate buyer because an associate likely can't afford that size practice. So that conversation is really going to be depending where you are, where you've been leading up to this conversation, and then, what's your desired exit.
How early should I engage a CPA?
Yesterday. Now, as CPAs, it's important. And it's not just us, it's all your advisors. You want to have an attorney on board. Why? Because you want to retain advisors that know you, know your spouse, know what you're trying to accomplish, big and long picture, outside of just the day-to-day practice. So if you've already built that infrastructure where you have your financial advisor, you have your attorney, you have your CPA, you have your bookkeeper, you have a team rowing in the same direction with you, so that when you do tell them, hey, next 12 months I'm thinking about selling, they're going to say, okay, we've already got you ready to sell based on your efforts and based on the guidance we've been giving you. So it's always important. Surround yourself with the right people as early as possible.
So what does a CPA do outside of tell me what I owe in taxes on the sale?
Yeah, so it's our job. Compliance is always going to be a big component of it, the preparation and filing of returns. But at the same time, proactive planning is what you truly need. And proactive planning by us meaning monthly and quarterly conversations to anticipate some of these discussions, to know that your timeline is 3 to 5 years, so that we've been pulling all the tax minimization levers that we can and helping you and guiding you setting up your practice for sale.